Alright, buddy. See you at the island this weekend. Naval surveillance to the White House. Sir, a massive fleet is approaching the United States from Soviet waters. What? Those communist sons of... It's finally happening. Deploy the fighters, deploy the Navy, deploy the Army, deploy everybody. Tell the public everything's under control and they should continue their normal lives. Get my family to the bunker. Wait, get Jeffrey to the bunker too. Actually, if you can't get my family, just get Jeffrey. Oh, forget the family. Just save Jeffrey. Hold on, sir. Something's not right. Those aren't Soviet flags. This fleet belongs to Pepsi. Pepsi? Wow, I didn't think his beef with Coca-Cola would blow up like this. After World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union both had enormous militaries, enough terrifying weapons to end civilization, and just enough confidence to make everyone nervous. And most importantly, they were absolutely terrified of each other. Because they both knew that if they actually fought a real war, they'd probably turn the entire planet into a glowing parking lot. So instead, they started something much safer. A Cold War. An insane competition involving military power, nuclear weapons, technology, ideology, sports culture, and even who could do weirder things in space, or which superpower the cute girl next door liked more. Since openly insulting each other wasn't considered very diplomatic, they occasionally organized exhibitions in each other's countries. Officially, they were showcasing their achievements. Unofficially, they were trash-talking. Mr. Comrade? What's that? That's a model of Sputnik, son, the satellite we use to absolutely embarrass you in the space race. See this? That's the rocket. Put a nuclear warhead on top, and it could turn half of Kansas into barbecue. Mommy? I don't want to be barbecue. The American exhibition had a completely different strategy. Instead of terrifying the enemy, they wanted to make the enemy jealous. Hey, Soviet citizens, look how much comfort and happiness capitalism can buy. So they displayed modern kitchens, washing machines, color televisions, and mountains of consumer goods. Wow, damn! The American dream is just chef's kiss. Both Nikita Khrushchev and Richard Nixon showed up, and in the friendliest possible way, telling each other at that, losers, we're on another level. Come on, Nikita, you've got to admit this technology is impressive. Please, we have all this stuff too. Our people can own their cars and houses. Yeah, before your banks take it all away from them. You guys spend all your money building bombs. I'd bet the most advanced thing in your kitchen is a can opener. Actually, the only thing we're behind on is our nuclear launch safety systems. Sometimes they may or may not try launching themselves. Hold on. Let's rewind for a second. Soft drinks were also part of the exhibition. Coca-Cola was so extra with the whole America vibe, there's no way they were about to let some communist kiss their bottles. Pepsi was much less picky. Sometimes they may or may not try launching themselves. Hey, take it easy. Why don't you try one? My God, this tastes like freedom. I mean, it tastes like boredom. Years passed. US-Soviet relations slowly evolved from, we are about to nuke you any second now, to we might maybe not nuke you, for now. But inside the Soviet Union, things weren't going great. A lot of people were no longer fully convinced by the original communist dream. The system was struggling. Western consumer goods, American money flowing into the West, and rock music were slowly doing their job. So, the government had an idea. What if we import a controlled version of Western happiness, just enough to keep people satisfied, but not enough to trigger an ideological panic attack from Uncle Lenin? For improving public happiness, I suggest gummy bears. No, let's print Marx quotes on food coupons. I think we should install 10,000 Stalin statues in every city. That'll cheer everyone up. What about Pepsi? Yeah, that one actually makes sense. Let's do it. And just like that, after a few years, Pepsi caught the fish. But there was a problem. The Soviet ruble was basically monopoly money for Pepsi. Fun to look at, useless in real trade, and the Soviet didn't exactly have easy access to US dollars. Accepting dollars openly would basically be like spitting on Stalin's grave in broad daylight in front of KGB agents. We don't accept your paper money, but maybe you like this? Each one contains a tiny communist inside. No. Okay. How about Napoleon's boots stuck in the snow? Limited edition, in different colors. No. Hammer and sickle hat? No. Potatoes? No. Food coupons? No. You know what? I'm out. Wait, what was that? And boom, vodka sealed the deal. The deal was simple. The Soviet paid Pepsi in vodka. Pepsi sold the vodka in the US for dollars. Everybody wins. Soviets got sugar highs from soda. Americans got liver damage from vodka. Pepsi got money, and capitalism works. Pepsi bottling plants kept multiplying. The government took the most luxurious Western product, gave it a Soviet twist, and sold it to the people. Citizens got a taste of the West, maybe thinking, man, it's nice that soda doesn't get you hooked like alcohol does. For years, everything went smoothly, until... Comrades, the Americans completely destroyed themselves in Vietnam. Classic imperialist failure. Idiots. Obviously they would lose. So, what do we learn? We invade Afghanistan. Yes, let's do it. Quick and short operation, in and out. Eventually, they too fell into the trap, just like America, whose pile of short wars adds up to more than my grandma's age. Dmitri? What'd he say? When are we getting out of this Afghanistan? Well, that wasn't very clear, but I heard a few threes. Since everything's supposed to be over fast, he probably meant 3 days. Or 33 days. Or maybe 333 days. Or 3,333 days. Shut up, Dmitri. Just shut up. Copy. As usual, picking fights just trashed their money, economy, and global credibility. And since, hey, countries shouldn't just invade each other for no reason, well, except us and our allies, of course, vodka ended up facing some sanctions and a wave of public backlash in the US. And this wasn't good news for Soviet trade, or for Pepsi. So, they sat down to negotiate once again. Comrade, this much vodka isn't enough. Got anything else you can throw in? Of course I do. Check this out. Each one contains a tiny communist inside. Okay, forget it. Everything was slipping away. Pepsi profiting off vodka, the Soviet state profiting off its people who couldn't get enough soda, which obviously doesn't hook you. Until they figured out a new way to make deals. If these days you hear that the government claims it can't afford to fix healthcare, but always finds cash for massive military costs, you can guess what the Soviet Union was up to back then. But weapons eventually get worn out and become useless. And when we're talking about heavily weapon-obsessed countries, we're basically talking about thousands of tons of scrap metal. In the case of the Soviet Union, that metal included a whole fleet of rusted-out, falling-apart ships. The Soviet Union's barter offer was pretty wild. A cruiser, a frigate, a destroyer, and 17 submarines. Pepsi's response was just one word: deal. Hey, what do we even have in our fleet? If we count that inflatable raft you inherited from your grandpa, one inflatable raft. So, there's really no country out there willing to trade a fighter jet for soda, huh? Hey man, we're technically the 6th largest navy in the world right now. We could literally invade a country if we wanted to. The Pepsi fleet, move out. Alright, sell the whole thing for scrap. The shortage from vodka sales was made up for. The Soviet Union got rid of a bunch of expensive junk they didn't need, and people got their soda back. Meanwhile, Pepsi sold the fleet off for scrap in Norway and cashed out in dollars. The deal of the century was done, and suddenly everything was back on track, arguably even better than before. There were even plans for the Soviets to build several brand new larger ships for Pepsi, and once again everybody was happy. Comrade, you know the best part about doing business with you? What? For a deal this big, I only have to negotiate with one guy, and that's you. Of course, I'm just one guy. Ever wonder how the Soviets went broke while America kept spending? Turns out, the little green piece of paper had something to do with it. We'll get into that next.